stay here. I'm gonna make a quick call, okay, sweetheart?
Bad dog. Quiet.
Hey, please hurry. Yes, Jolly Ajay. Lucy? What? Oh, babe.
Winston was being naughty. Just mommy and me now. I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm not Lucy. I'm Oliver.
In a remote village shrouded by ancient rituals, a mother discovers a forbidden way to speak to her dead son one last time. But when the sacred rule is broken and the temple door is opened, something far darker slips through. Shadows creep, whispers echo, and a grieving family becomes haunted by a presence that should never have returned. This is where sorrow turns into terror. The other side of the door.
Man!
The film opens in a quaint village located in Mumbai, India. Here, we meet our central characters, Michael and his newly pregnant wife, Maria. Captivated by the charm of the city, Michael proposes that they make Mumbai their permanent home. He approaches a young girl and inquires whether it would be a good idea for them to stay here indefinitely. The scene then shifts 6 years ahead, revealing Maria waking from a troubling dream and expressing her distress through physical outbursts directed at Michael. As he comforts her, the camera reveals their family life, including their 2 children, a son named Oliver and a daughter named Lucy. The couple starts their day with breakfast alongside Lucy and their dog, Winston. Notably, there is an unsettling absence of Oliver in the family photograph displayed earlier. Despite this oddity, the family continues with their daily routine, assisted by their maid, Peaky. As Michael prepares to leave for work after breakfast, Maria experiences a mental breakdown, which Peaky observes with concern. The couple has been residing in Mumbai for the past 6 years. Later that evening, Michael returns home to find Maria asleep while watching old family videos, one of which features the 4 of them playing the piano together. He watches the footage of Oliver with a heavy heart before gently covering his wife with a blanket. In a shocking turn of events, an empty pill bottle falls from the bed, revealing that Maria is not merely asleep but has overdosed. Michael promptly calls for an ambulance as Maria slips into unconsciousness, triggering a haunting memory from her past, a car accident involving her 2 children. The car is rapidly submerging as she struggles to free her kids from their seatbelts. She manages to rescue Lucy but discovers that Oliver's leg is trapped under the seat. In a desperate attempt to save him, she is unable to free him in time, resulting in his tragic drowning. Nevertheless, she succeeds in bringing Lucy to safety. Maria screams for assistance and tries to dive back down to retrieve Oliver, but bystanders restrain her from re-entering the water. Back in the present day, Maria is hospitalized. However, a doctor reassures Michael that she will recover. Observing Maria's deteriorating condition, Peaky visits her in the hospital and claims to know a way for her to reconnect with her son for one final farewell. Peaky then shares a tale about a temple nestled in the woods just outside her home village, rumored to blur the boundaries between the living and the dead. She confides in Maria that she understands grief all too well, having lost her own daughter. To reach out to the deceased, Maria simply needs to bring her son's ashes and scatter them along the temple steps. Afterward, she must lock herself inside the temple at night and wait for dawn to arrive. Peaky assures Maria that through the temple door, she will be able to converse with Oliver, allowing them to say their final farewells. Once Maria recovers and returns home, she reflects on Peaky's words about the temple. Later that day, she observes Peaky praying at a shrine dedicated to her late daughter. Realizing Maria's interest in the possibility of reconnecting with Oliver, Peaky explains that there is one important condition. When Maria speaks with Oliver, she must keep the door closed, regardless of what he says or how desperately he pleads for her to open it. Maria agrees to this stipulation, and the 2 women make their way to the graveyard, where several men are seen exhuming Oliver's casket. When the casket is opened, Maria insists on seeing her son's body and even reaches for his beloved plush toy, Khan the tiger. She gasps in horror upon discovering Oliver's decayed arm. They proceed to hold a funeral pyre, attended by several seemingly random tribesmen who stand by, watching and praying alongside Peaky. Peaky explains that these men are part of the Agori community. They cover themselves in the ashes of the deceased and consume remnants of the dead, believing it aids in communication with spirits. Afterward, Peaky takes Maria to the train station and reassures her that she will inform Michael about what is happening so he won't worry. Maria then embarks on her journey to the remote village. The following day, she is dropped off just outside the woods and quickly ventures inside. She continues on foot until she discovers the temple, passing several dead crows along her way. Climbing the steps, she enters the temple. Following Peaky's instructions, she spreads Oliver's ashes along the steps before returning inside. Once locked in, she holds a candle and waits for nightfall. As darkness falls, Maria begins to hear breathing from within the temple, sparking her curiosity and prompting her to explore deeper into the structure, where she finds a cave. Things take a surreal turn as she feels a sudden gust of wind pass by her, followed by another that extinguishes her candle. Lighting a match, she is startled to see a crow drop dead at her feet, decomposing almost instantly before her eyes. In addition, she is taken aback by the sight of a mummified woman with her face buried in her hands. When the lighter extinguishes, a startled Maria retreats to the main hall and calls out her son's name. Suddenly, the entrance door to the temple begins to bang violently. When the noise ceases, she hears Oliver's voice. Overwhelmed with relief and excitement, Maria presses her ear against the door, apologizing for having left him to die. Oliver, of course, does not hold any blame against her. However, being a young child, he attempts to open the door, yearning to be with his mother. Aware that it is against the rules, Maria, with a heavy heart, tells him that she cannot open the door. Upon hearing this, Oliver begins to cry, expressing that he must return to where he came from. Panic sets in for Maria as she desires more time to speak with Oliver. Ultimately, she decides to act against the established rules. However, upon opening the door, she finds no one outside. Frantically calling for Oliver, she turns around and is met with a shocking and frightening sight, prompting her to flee from the temple. Meanwhile, inside the temple, an ominous statue begins to crack. Back in Mumbai, Michael remains awake at night when suddenly Winston, the dog, starts barking despite the absence of anyone outside. The following day, little Lucy is playing in her room when she hears a noise from outside. She rushes out and discovers Khan, Oliver's favorite plush toy, perched on the stair landing. After picking it up, she prepares to leave when Oliver's bedroom door unexpectedly swings open. Later that day, upon returning home, Maria encounters Michael, who expresses his disappointment regarding her sudden absence that caused him significant worry. Maria quickly apologizes, explaining that she was seeking healing, and they share a warm embrace. That night, Maria is awakened by Winston's barking and decides to take the dog outside her room. Shortly after, she feels compelled to check on her sleeping daughter due to her longing for Lucy. However, she is startled by creaking sounds coming from the bedroom as if someone else is present. After listening for a moment, she decides to dismiss the noise. The following morning, Maria finds Lucy singing in Oliver's bedroom and asks her to play elsewhere. As Maria turns to leave, the toy box in the room tips over, spilling alphabet blocks that spell out Oliver. Once again brushing aside her unease, Maria cleans up the mess and heads downstairs to join Lucy. There, she is struck with horror upon seeing Khan the tiger plushie sitting atop the piano. Unfazed, Lucy expresses her desire to show Maria something. Maria begins to play a song on the piano that she and Oliver used to enjoy together, only to be surprised when the piano starts playing on its own. Realizing that Oliver's spirit is present, she decides to wash the tiger plushie while shedding tears of grief. That night, as she tucks Lucy into bed, Lucy implores her not to mention any of this to Michael, as it appears that Oliver is hiding something but has not confided in her. Afterward, Maria visits Oliver's room and places the tiger plushie on the bed. Suddenly, a storybook falls from the shelf, and a chair is pulled closer to the bed. Understanding the silent request, Maria begins to read a bedtime story for Oliver's spirit. When Michael returns home later, Maria greets him with joy, leaving him puzzled. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to the family, leaves in the courtyard begin to fall and decay instantly. That night, Maria awakens to find the plushie con sitting at the foot of her bed and hears Oliver calling for her. However, she soon wakes up for real, relieved to discover it was merely a dream. In the morning, Peaky notices that one of the houseplants has died. The family's gardener approaches her and takes her outside, revealing that every plant in the yard has mysteriously withered and perished, along with all the fish in the pond. At this moment, Lucy begins to scream. It soon becomes apparent that the family's pet birds have also died. Peaky looks at Maria with concern and informs her about the fish and the plants. In response, Maria takes Lucy to dispose of the birds' bodies in the ocean, following traditional Indian customs. Unexpectedly, as Maria turns around, they are startled by a gory tribesman who chant while applying ash to Maria's face. They take a three-wheeler taxi but are halted by a car accident ahead. They return home safely, and we skip to later that evening when a thunderstorm rages outside. Lucy is awake, watching television, while Oliver's figure is seen lurking in the background. Later, as Maria bathes Lucy, she notices bite marks on her daughter's skin. Lucy expresses her disdain for Oliver, stating that he has been unkind to her. Angered by Oliver's actions, Maria goes to confront him in his room. Instead of responding cooperatively, Oliver slides a storybook closer and gestures for her to sit in a chair. Maria initially resists Oliver's request, but he forcefully shuts the door. Feeling a sense of apprehension, she ultimately agrees to read him a story, warning him never to harm Lucy again. Later, Maria receives a phone call from Michael, who informs her that he will be coming home late that evening. That night, Maria sleeps beside Lucy but is awakened by the sound of the piano playing off-key. She descends the stairs to investigate and discovers the tiger plushie disemboweled on the floor. At that moment, someone knocks on the door. Upon opening it, she finds an Agori tribesman in the yard. She threatens to call the police, but the man remains steadfast, pointing to a spot behind her. When she turns around, a terrifying figure crawls toward her. Overcome with fear, Maria escapes back inside. Peaky, who has witnessed this encounter, confronts her and warns that by breaking the rules, Oliver's soul, one that does not belong in this world, has become putrefied. Moreover, the figure that attempted to attack her outside was Murtu, the gatekeeper of the underworld, who has awakened and escaped from the temple through the open door. Murtu is there to reclaim Oliver and will eliminate anything in his path. Peaky urges Maria to burn all of Oliver's possessions to sever his ties to this realm. Reluctant to part with Oliver, Maria dismisses Peaky as insane and returns upstairs. There, she finds Lucy crying on the bed while facing the wall. As Maria approaches her daughter, she realizes that it is not truly Lucy. The following day, the family goes out for lunch. Feeling anxious about returning home, Maria suggests to her oblivious husband that they take a family trip to visit relatives, an idea Michael enthusiastically supports. However, Maria begins to see cockroaches everywhere. Fortunately, it turns out to be a hallucination. She regains her composure and soon realizes that Lucy is missing from the restaurant. Overcome with concern, Maria hears Lucy's voice outside and decides to explore the alleyways in search of her. She briefly spots Lucy running and chases after her. Maria arrives at a dead end, but instead of finding her daughter, she encounters Murtu preparing to attack her. He vanishes just as Michael appears, holding Lucy. Meanwhile, back at the family's residence, Peaky works diligently to eliminate every trace of Oliver from the house. After discarding the last trash bag into a pile, she returns inside to retrieve a can of gasoline. However, all the doors suddenly slam shut, trapping her inside. Shortly after, she manages to open the door and steps outside to burn Oliver's belongings. At that moment, the figure of her deceased daughter emerges from the pond water and calls out to her. However, it is not truly her daughter, it is Oliver masquerading as her lost child. Peaky approaches and discovers her daughter's red ribbon floating in the pond. Later that day, the family returns home to discover Oliver's belongings bundled in trash bags outside the house. While they survey their yard, Maria screams loudly, calling for Michael, who then encounters the horrifying sight of Peaky lying lifeless in the pond. They promptly arrange a funeral pyre for Peaky, with Michael attending while Maria stays home with Lucy. As she tucks Lucy in for the night, Lucy asks if Oliver killed Peaky. Maria reassures her that it was merely an accident and allows Winston, their dog, to sleep with her. After leaving Lucy's room, Maria realizes she must take action and goes outside to burn Oliver's belongings. While she watches the items burn, a figure stands behind her. Just then, she hears barking from Lucy's room, prompting her to return to the house. To her surprise, Lucy is no longer in her bed. Maria begins searching the house and eventually finds Lucy sitting on a swing in the garden. She rushes over and embraces her in relief. At that moment, Michael arrives home and notices the fire in the yard, leading him to become furious with Maria for burning Oliver's possessions. Despite his attempts to salvage what remains, Maria insists that everything must be destroyed because Oliver has returned from the dead and killed Peaky. Michael, unaware of the full situation, thinks she has lost her mind. However, as he turns away, Maria notices a strange change in Lucy's eyes. It dawns on her that Oliver has possessed Lucy, but Michael still does not believe her. He picks up the possessed Lucy and locks Maria in the bedroom, promising to seek help for her. As he heads outside, he encounters a gory tribesman gathering in the yard, chanting loudly in Sanskrit. Returning inside, he reaches for his phone to call the police. Left alone with the possessed Lucy, Winston begins barking at her, which irritates her. In a fit of rage, she grabs a knife and fatally stabs Winston. Michael rushes toward her in horror, only to be stabbed in the gut by Lucy. At this moment, the possessed girl reveals that she is no longer Lucy but Oliver. Meanwhile, Maria breaks through the door in search of Michael and finds the possessed Lucy in Oliver's bedroom. Just outside the bedroom, Murtu appears and begins crawling up the staircase. One of the tribesmen attempts to stab Lucy, but Michael intervenes. Maria pleads with Oliver to leave Lucy's body by promising to keep him company this time. Consequently, Oliver vacates Lucy's body and enters Maria's before she is immediately stabbed by one of the Agori. When Maria next awakens, she finds herself alone in Oliver's room, face to face with Murtu. Murtu approaches her and reveals her identity. Maria then wakes up on the steps outside the temple, briefly believing she is alive while hearing Michael's voice calling for her. It soon becomes clear to her that she is dead and that Michael has summoned her there for a final farewell. Desperate, she screams for him not to open the door, but he does so anyway, repeating his call once more. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.